My older brother stood in the center of the dining room, chest lifted, voice loud enough to claim the air. He announced that our parents had decided all 8 of the family's rental houses in Florida would be going to him, and the youngest gets nothing, he added, smiling as if he'd just delivered a joke worth repeating. Laughter followed. A cousin whistled. Someone clinked a glass. My mother wiped at her eyes, proud and trembling in the way she always did when he spoke. My father leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, already settled into the comfort of a decision he believed was final. I didn't clap. I didn't shift in my seat. I didn't look away. I watched my brother's fork pause halfway to his mouth as the noise thinned. When the room finally quieted, I smiled. "Dad," I said gently, before everyone gets too comfortable, "there's something you don't know. I grew up in a house where attention always curved toward one person. When my older brother entered a room, conversations adjusted automatically, chairs angled toward him, faces lifted. Even as children, the pattern was clear. His birthdays arrived with balloons thick enough to crowd the ceiling. Frosting layered so high candles stood upright without help. Mine were quieter, smaller gatherings, where someone remembered the cake only after the knife was already on the table. I learned early that attention wasn't distributed. It was directed. In school, teachers mixed up our names. They corrected themselves only after he laughed first. He had the easy charm, the volume, the kind of presence adults rewarded without asking why. I was the child who finished worksheets early and waited, hands folded, learning patience before I learned pride. When I asked for extra math tutoring, my parents said money was tight. That same week they bought him another set of sports gear. I didn't argue. I folded the moment into silence and moved on. Family gatherings followed the same script. My achievements slipped between conversations like loose papers. His stories landed at the center of the table, retold and polished until each one sounded like a turning point for the entire family. Compliments for me usually came wrapped in comparison. Responsible, they called me. Independent. Low maintenance, as if those were medals meant to replace everything else. I learned to live in corners close enough to be counted, far enough to be overlooked. When I was accepted into an out-of-state university on a full scholarship, my father didn't hug me. He didn't tell me he was proud. He said, "Well, someone has to leave Florida eventually," as if my departure were a logistical convenience. My mother called it practical, said this way I wouldn't be a burden. My brother stayed. He stepped directly into the family rental business, like a throne already waiting. He was praised for helping, even when helping meant depositing rent checks and calling himself a property manager. I left 2 days after my 22nd birthday, packed the backseat of my old car and drove north until Tampa dissolved in the rearview mirror. Atlanta felt like oxygen after years of holding my breath. A small apartment, a desk, a job where people listened when I spoke, no shadows to measure myself against. For the first time, my life belonged only to me. Then my grandmother called. She lived in St. Pete, in a house that smelled like sea air and old paper. She was the only person in the family who ever looked at me without searching past my shoulder for him. When she asked me to come down for the weekend, I didn't question it. I arrived to find her waiting on the screened porch. 2 folders sat neatly stacked on the table between us. She didn't waste time. The first folder held payment logs, expenses, numbers that didn't align, rent that vanished, categories labeled repairs with no receipts to justify them, 18 months of quiet siphoning from the properties she had maintained for decades. I gave him access because he said he wanted to learn, she said calmly. Turns out he learned something else. The second folder was heavier. Inside were the documents, a living trust naming her as trustee and me as successor. Deeds already prepared. Transfers designed to activate the moment she signed. No speeches. No emotional explanations. Just clarity. We signed everything the following Monday. A notary sat across from us while the ceiling fan clicked softly overhead. When it was done, she poured 2 small glasses of bourbon and said, "Now it's finished. Remember, paper outlives promises." She made me swear to keep it quiet. I did. That was the day I finally understood the place I'd always held in this family, and the place she believed I deserved. After my grandmother's funeral, the house felt hollow in a way I hadn't expected. Not quiet, just emptied of the one person who had ever seen me without comparison. I planned to drive back to Atlanta the next morning. Instead, my mother called late that night. "Stay one more day," she said softly. "We need to talk about the properties." I knew what that meant long before I walked into the dining room. The table was arranged like a business meeting. Legal pads aligned. Coffee cups set in a row. My father sat at the head, presiding. My brother leaned back, legs stretched, tapping a pen like the outcome was already written. My father slid a single page toward me. "It's just a simple waiver," he said. "Since your brother's been managing everything, it makes sense for him to take full responsibility." My mother rushed in. "It keeps things peaceful. You're building a life elsewhere." My brother exhaled sharply. "Just sign it. No lawyers. No drama." 8 addresses listed neatly. A signature line waiting to erase me. I slid the paper back. "I'm not signing this." The words didn't rise. They didn't fall. They simply existed. I stood, took my keys, and left. That night, I drove back to Atlanta through darkness thick with unspoken words. At dawn, I opened the fireproof folder in my apartment, laid the deeds out in a precise grid, opened my laptop, organized facts. Not for a fight, for closure. I packed a suitcase. Documents first, clothes second. By morning, I was driving south. When I arrived at the house, cars already lined the street. Relatives clustered on the lawn, celebrating a future they thought was settled. My brother stood at the center, laughing loudly. I rolled my suitcase into the room, opened it, placed the deeds on the table one by one. 8 truths. The attorney read them quietly. "These are recorded," he said. "She is the legal successor." The room froze. No speeches, no shouting, just silence settling like a closed door. I left before sunrise. Back in Atlanta, I placed the folder on the highest shelf. Later, standing on my balcony, coffee warming my hands, I felt space. Not triumph, not revenge. Space. Some truths don't need to be argued. They settle. Quiet, precise, undeniable. Boundaries aren't loud. They're the doors you close without explanation. If stories like this stay with you, stay close. There are more truths worth hearing.